Welcome back to some new petty revenge stories, where people get small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Boss's Divorce. Around the end of 2017, my boss's wife ran through a midlife crisis and decided to have an affair and move out of their house. Divorce proceedings were initiated shortly after. In the following March, there was an incident between the two of them that necessitated court intervention, and for them to meet some requirements as a result. One of those requirements was her being required to walk around the house and make a list of all the items that were hers. Cue pettiness on her part. Boss's lawyer stated that, "In my 20 years of law practice, I have never seen a list this petty. Half of the dish towels, half of the paper plate holders, half of the pots, the curtains in the lounge. You get the idea." She made sure she got half of everything. However, my boss did not allow her to come into the house herself to pack, as she had spent the previous 5 months stealing out of the house at every opportunity, and he didn't trust her to pack only her belongings. So he made me do it. It's a small company, with nothing else really for me to be doing. So I dutifully started collating her belongings. This is where the pettiness comes in. She requested one saucepan. I shook both, and one had a loose handle. She got that one. She asked for the curtains in the lounge. She didn't ask for the curtain hooks, so I took all of those out. Half of the dish towels. She got all the grotty mismatched ones, not the nice red set. Half of the containers in the storage room. Never specified she wanted the contents, so she got empty containers. I did this for the entire list, making sure I was as petty as possible when packing up the house. Once she took all her stuff, she sent a very long letter via her lawyer, stating that what she received was not what was listed in her belongings. We painstakingly went through the entire list, explaining that she received exactly what was written on her list, and we couldn't possibly be at fault, since she wasn't specific enough. Their divorce was finalized at the end of 2019. Occasionally, we will still get the stray email, saying we need to return items to her that weren't provided back in 2018. It makes my petty heart burn bright, knowing that she tried to be a jerk about taking things, and I turned it back on her and ruined it by being extra petty. The next story is called 2-Star Reviews. I worked for a non-profit with toxic leadership. Nobody was doing exit interviews, so I took over. I told employees to leave a review, but don't leave a 1-star review, because that shows you don't care. Leave a 2-star review, because that shows you care. Most companies don't have any 2-star reviews from employees. This company has almost all 2 stars. Toxic workplace is trending in the reviews. The rating dropped from 3.4 to 2.4, and CEO approval is almost nothing. The CEO even planted 5-star reviews in her own company voice and branding, but it wasn't enough. Less than 200 employees and 30 plus empty positions at any given point. She's stepping down at the end of the year, and her statement sounded very scripted, and her voice sounded very defeated. The third story is called Don't Judge by the Cover. I don't typically buy a lot of designer clothing, but when I do go shopping, I dress pretty casually. Last week I was strolling through the mall, and there was a designer backpack on the display that caught my attention. I went inside the store, wearing a hoodie and ripped jeans, and went to inquire about the price of the backpack. I waited around for 10 minutes for someone to help me, until I decided to go up to one of the sales representatives myself. She told me to wait, because she was helping another customer, so I sat down and waited. I saw her in the corner of the store, just standing, not doing anything. I decided to wait another 5 minutes for her to come back, but she never did. I walked back up to her and told her I wanted to inquire about the backpack. I asked her if she could bring one from the back room, so I could take a closer look at it. She told me that she wouldn't be able to do that, unless I was planning on purchasing the item. She seemed annoyed with my request. Before I could say anything else, she quickly walked away to help another customer. I'm quite young, 25. and I could tell she didn't think I was serious about purchasing it and didn't want to waste her time. I would have actually purchased it then and there if she hadn't been so dismissive. A few days later, I went back into the store. This time I made sure to dress even more casually than before. I walked in with a pair of sweatpants, running shoes, a tank top and zip-up. The same lady was working that day and turned her back to me as soon as I walked in. I went up to one of the other sales representatives. This guy was younger, smiling and seemed eager to help, and I told him I wanted to purchase the backpack, and he gladly went inside and got it for me. He even asked if I'd like to take a look at it before buying. I thanked him and he checked me out. The store manager was also by the cashier, and I let him know that I came in last week and that the lady wouldn't let me see the product before purchasing it. He was upset to hear this and told me this wasn't the first time he had received a complaint about her. The item was a few grand, and all the commission went towards the junior. He was so kind and grateful. She avoided eye contact with me after she got told off by her manager, and I smiled at her as I walked out of the store. Don't judge a book by its cover. The next story is called Line Cutter. For some reason, I have been getting quite a few people that feel entitled and just come and cut in line. Now, normally I don't say anything, but I've learned to speak up whenever this happens. Usually they leave. However, this particular time, I thought it is best to stay quiet. He cut in front and just acted as if me and my wife were not even there. He was on his phone, so I could see that he had already placed an order and just needed to pick it up. Now, whether he is just not that very bright or was obsessed with looking into his phone to avoid interaction with me, I will never know. But he was in the wrong line, as there's a separate line for pickups, which was empty. He could have gone directly there and been out the door in 30 seconds. Instead, he waited 15 minutes in line, and when he was about 2 people behind the counter, I guess he opened his eyes long enough to realize there was a separate line for pickup only. He then proceeds to leave and go to the counter to pick up his food. Thankfully though, the employee who was at that counter just left, and he actually waited longer than me. Sometimes staying quiet is the best move. The last story is called Ruin My Ditch, Ruin Your Car. I bought some property a few years ago near my house. Both are in a rural area. I put in a driveway with a culvert for rainwater, made ditches, got it sorted how I want. A few months later, I noticed someone had run off the road during a rainstorm and trashed a 300 feet stretch of ditch. So I fixed everything and went about my day. Repeat this cycle twice, and I have a camera showing someone in a truck intentionally running through my ditch daily. This causes water to back up under my culvert, which washes away my gravel and freezes solid in winter. It's annoying and time consuming to fix. I didn't fix it this time. I just dropped some 15 to 20 pound rocks in his mud hole. I'm guessing he hit the first one right on the control arm at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Remember, I said it's rural. It's a minimum 1 mile distance to get cell service, maybe. And it was raining pretty hard that day. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.